Everything you are about to witness is for entertainment purposes only.
Lived in a time where it's like, hey, we have all the water we can drink, all the land we can roam, we have all the fruits and vegetables we need, we have the animals take care of us, and then these monsters came along and said, we can offer better, and you will accept better. We're gonna put you in debt, but we're gonna loan you things so you can be just like us, and it's bizarre when you really start deeply thinking about it. But we're generations into this now, so what generation is going to break out of it and go, I don't want your nice car. I don't want your education. I don't want what you're offering because it has nothing to do as a good human soul anymore.
All these billionaires say they start in a garage. Yeah. And then the garage is just all Freemason, satanic symbolism in the garage. Amazon was created in DARPA. They gave it to the guy. They're like, okay, you're the guy. They start with books. They work out the kinks with books. And once that gets to the point where it's like fully functional, now they put it out there everywhere. So they gave it to them.
They didn't coin the term billionaire until 1900, and there didn't exist any billionaires at that time. So the first billionaire, 1916, was Rockefeller. And at that time, people that we considered incredibly wealthy of the day, Astor, Carnegie, Henry Ford of auto fame, they had 1/10 of the income that Rockefeller had. Okay, fast forward from 1916 to 1960, there's only 10 anywhere in the world. Then from 1960, fast forward to 1982, when Forbes was putting out their 400 richest people, there's only 13. In 1982, there's only 13. Now let's see where we sit today. So that's the period when I was growing up. And so it's true that there weren't a bunch of bazillionaires. That's 13 in the whole world, in the whole wide world. So how many do we have today? Which still in my lifetime, 3,000. So how come for like 100 years, the needle barely moved? In 100 years, you're talking about from 1 to 10 people. And then all of a sudden, it has shot to 3,000 people.
What is going on here? This is the Paris Fashion Week. And this looks absolutely demonic. This is some weird stuff. Again, this is some weird stuff, but maybe this is just what fashion is nowadays, huh? Right? Maybe that's all that this is. Again, maybe this is just what fashion is nowadays. Maybe I'm just out of touch with current fashion. Maybe. Or maybe there is something more going on here, hidden in plain sight. Almost like truth in plain sight. Again, you got to admit, this looks very bizarre.
Okay, so I got the transcripts. Mitch, we have to bring slavery back. Those were the good old days. Kevin, how will we do that? There's no way we can do that. Mitch, black people won't do it, but white people will. Kevin, how will we get white people to be slaves? That sounds ridiculous. Mitch, we have to get rid of the separation of church and state. We must have state-funded religious schools. Kevin, I don't see where you're getting at. Mitch, those schools will have work programs for 4th through 8th graders. Kevin, I think I see where you're going here. How is that going to work? Mitch, we get the kids to pick all the produce as a part of their work program to teach them the values of good old-fashioned blue-collar labor and the bounty of God. Kevin, I don't think that anyone will go for that. Mitch, it's all about grooming. Start in the 1st grade, and by 4th grade, they'll be ready to do it. Kevin, but we already have people to pick the produce. Mitch, we have to finish the wall. Kevin, no way that's going to happen. Mitch, we find better ways to get the immigrants out of the United States. Kevin, like doubling ICE. Mitch, yes. Kevin, this will be too hard, and we'll be too busy trying to sustain this over long periods of time and generations. Mitch, no, we get rid of the abortion laws in the United States and we make it mandatory that all 8th grade females be impregnated in order to graduate. Kevin, like replacing the crops. Ha ha ha, pun intended. Also, Kevin, I will work on getting the abortion banned. You work on state-funded religious schools. Mitch, we don't have to do either. Lindsay and I took care of that with the new SCOTUS.
This war is a fucking distraction, and Tucker Carlson explains the truth. Everybody knows the only reason we're having this war is because Israel wants it. This is their last chance, they believe. This presidency is the last presidency they're going to have unequivocal bipartisan support. You can't primary every Thomas Massey, and there's a whole army of them coming at some point because everyone can see what's going on. You can shut down X, and you can shut down the internet. You can be like Great Britain and arrest people who protest Israel, but attitudes are not going to revert to what they were 5 years ago. Sorry. And they know this. So this is their last chance. What's so amazing is that Israel, which at least is acting in what it perceives to be its own national interest, is joined by its shills in the United States, of course. But really, its only other ally in this is the American news media, whose job it is to tell you the truth and inform you as to what's happening. To tell you, hey, wake up, the world could be changing, and it's going to affect you and your family. Instead, they've been lulling you to sleep with the same variety of transparent lies and propaganda.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, Professor. I'm so sorry I didn't turn in that activity. I know it was really important that I learn about Punnett squares, and I'm sure it was really informational, and I would love to get that done. But unfortunately, we all just learned as a species that every single important person in the last 50 years or so is a cannibalistic pedophile. Do you hear what the I just said? Did that register at all? All of your celebrities, all of your politicians, all of your multi-million and billionaires, they're and eating kids. They're eating kids. They're eating kids. They're eating kids. How the is nobody upset? They're eating children. Not just Weird Dan down the street. The president. Several presidents. Not just of this country, of others. They are kidnapping. They are systemically selling children into slavery and then cannibalizing them.
It can't be said better than that, can it?
Ron Perlman, Jews control Hollywood. Okay, let's go about sports. Like, Jews, we don't do sports. We don't play sports, but we own the sports teams. 50% of NFL teams, 50% are owned by Jews. We make up 2% of America. We own 50% of NFL teams and about 33% of MLB, NBA, and NHL teams.
Do you think they're going to sacrifice themselves and their families? Right. No. Yeah. Netanyahu's son was chilling in Miami while all the other 18-year-old boys in Israel have to go to the army.
Right.
Like so to me, it's like, you know, I realize that there's a level of brainwashing that has happened to everyone. Yeah. You know, like you guys see it, like there's a level of brainwashing within the black community, which makes them believe all the lies that are told to them about themselves.
Black people believe anything. They believe Kamala Harris is black.
But you see what I mean? And they don't understand that in accepting that, they're binding themselves into their own victimhood.
Mental slavery.
And a lack of agency in their own life. Yeah. But they don't care because they're thinking they're getting the better end of the deal. Mm-hmm. This is the same with a lot in the Jewish community, you know. They don't realize that they are binding themselves by accepting this very brainwashing that's happening. And they don't realize that now they're putting a mark on their back because when people are like looking at, hey, the head of the CDC was Jewish, the head of Pfizer was Jewish, the head of all the networks is Jewish.
I'm a member of the Flat Earth. You ready?
Ready?
I'm an American Aeronautics pilot. I'm a member of the Flat Earth Society.
God bless you, brother. Wow, the truth. I love it.
What's up, America? We got a real problem on our hands. The guy that actually has the Sup America account has told us that his electrical bill has gone from $225, more than 100% doubled, to $550, and then his bill says that it's going to be 16% more next month. He says that they have an AI data center that's just been implanted right next to his house. This is the reason why the costs are going up. So he called the company and said, hey, why are my costs doubled? And they said, because it costs that much extra to transfer it to your house. No change in power lines, no change in any infrastructure, just the fact that the AI data center is there. Now, this is a real problem because AI is basically making us pay for its existence. That's what we're paying for. And this is not just in Indiana, it's also in Ohio, it's also in Kentucky, and all these people are making videos about it. You'll see them all over TikTok. So this is a real problem. How are we going to address this? This is not just our future, but our children's future. How are we going to be able to pay double our electric bill, maybe triple, maybe quadruple by the end of this year? The answer is we won't. And there's going to be some sort of breaking point.
BlackRock has officially bought our electric grid. A private-owned company now owns all of our electric grid in Indiana and Ohio in the name of mass producing AI data centers. If you are not in Indiana and don't know how hard we've been fighting data centers and our rising energy costs, our bills went up about $400 just in the last 2 months. And now that's expected to get even worse as BlackRock has just secured a $33 billion deal acquiring AES, which is the power company responsible for all of the electricity in Indiana and Ohio. I won't explain to you why a private equity company being able to dictate public energy, why it's an issue, but let's talk about how we know our energy costs are now being privatized and basically going to be used for politics and to, I don't know, drive our fucking prices up even more. BlackRock's investment as it comes to AI is privatizing energy so that they can supply and drain neighboring cities and now all of Indiana just so they can divert power grid supply to AI data centers. BlackRock has a monopoly on almost every fucking thing. And the fact that a deal going through that is going to allow them to divert energy from regular people to mass produce AI data centers while literally raising our prices and reducing accountability is a crime. This is criminal. Anna is being pimped out in the name of our governor. And now that they have acquired all of our wind farms, which is how we get our energy, we are now going to have a skyrocketing bill and BlackRock is going to contribute to destroying our environment with AI data centers for a fucking ChatGPT prompt on how much water is being used just to supply it. I don't understand how people are okay with this, but this is very fucking bad. And if it's starting here, it will come to you.
No one calls me anti-China Semitic. No one calls me anti-Russia Semitic. No one calls me anti-Saudi Arabia Semitic when I say shit about their governments and the influence they have here. It's fuck everybody that has an influence. I don't pick it to one place. We're talking about it with Donald Trump because there's one place that seems to have $232 million worth of known public influence over him. And he's making some decisions that are questionable. And when you see these files and you see who Jeffrey Epstein is coordinating with, there's no doubt who he's working for. And that has to be called out, friend or not.
The whole Facebook movie is a giant lie. It's a propaganda piece. That was a Pentagon program called LifeLog. You've heard this, right?
No.
Okay. LifeLog is a Pentagon program that wants to basically collect all your data for your whole life. So look this up. What day did the government stop the LifeLog project? Okay, what day?
The U.S. government specifically.
February 4th. Okay. Now.
Whoa. DARPA shut down the LifeLog project February 4th, 2004.
Now do me a favor and look up what day was Facebook registered as a business.
Oh my God. No way, bro. February 4th, 2004.
The exact same day.
It was created by DARPA.
Yeah.
So what is the purpose of LifeLog?
To collect all your data for your whole entire life. They own Instagram, Facebook, they own WhatsApp.
They own WhatsApp, yeah.
82% of Congress votes basically with Israel every single time. That 82% on average gets 100, just in that last election cycle, let alone all the other ones, $125,000 per member of Congress. Establishment media says that's not a bribe. They're just talking to one another. Oh, hey, how you doing? Here's $125,000 so you'll vote for Israel. But it's not for so you'll vote for Israel. It's so you can have a better debate or whatever. And they're like, of course, that's not a bribe. And they don't control those members. Well, how come they vote with Israel every single time? Why don't you follow the money? I thought the old adage of journalism was follow the money. And every time we ask you to follow the money, you call us an anti-Semite. That's really, really weird.
I don't know. I just think it's kind of weird that the only country that's ever used a nuclear weapon against another country has put itself in charge of telling other countries that they're not allowed to have nuclear weapons because they might use a nuclear weapon against another country.
You made 3 big predictions. 1, that Trump would win. 2, that he would start a war with Iran. And 3, that the U.S. would lose that war. It's quite a stunning prediction. Do you stand by it?
The reality is that right now, it's a war of attrition between the United States and Iran. And the Iranians have been preparing 20 years for this conflict. And now they have a pretty good strategy of how to weaken and ultimately destroy the American empire.
So he goes on to say that Iran is waging a war on the entire global economy. They are attempting to do so by striking at the GCC countries, which are 6 Arab nations that formed an economic, a military, and a political alliance, and it includes the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. He says that Iran is starting with attacking their energy infrastructure. They've already closed off the straits that allow oil tankers and cargo ships to pass through, and that they're eventually going to go after their water desalination plants, which is the bloodline for their fresh water supply, because they don't have any fresh water over there. But he says this is where Iran is really aiming to take down the U.S. and global economy. The Gulf states are the linchpin to the United States economy, believe it or not. And somewhere in the past, we made the arrangement that all oil with the OPEC members would be made using U.S. dollars. And Saudi Arabia and these other OPEC members sell us oil in exchange for U.S. dollars. And then these Gulf nations turn around and invest in all sorts of things in the United States. We gave them access to that. And they're propping up a big part of our economy as a result of their investments. But here's where he says that it really gets dangerous. He calls the U.S. economy a big Ponzi scheme. And right now, underpinning the Ponzi scheme is the whole AI bubble, investments in AI and data centers. And most of that investment is money that's coming from these Arab nations. And this could ultimately burst the AI bubble. And if we're all thinking, well, yay, let's burst the AI bubble, it's a big threat anyway, you don't understand. You can't take down AI without taking down the economy.
Oh no. China tells top refiners to halt diesel and gasoline exports. Yeah, no more shipping this stuff out. So here comes $5 diesel. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Here comes $5 diesel prices all across the country. Now, what do you think the over and under is going to be? Do you think the over under is it's $5 and above starting in 4 days, or $5 and above starting in 6 days? I mean, what's your over under? I'm going to say 5 days. 5 days for diesel prices to be over $5 a gallon across the country. Let me know what your over under number is. Mine, I'm going to go with 5 days. Let me know your number in the comments.
Someone made a TikTok and they're like, do you guys remember when North made the painting on Keeping Up with the Kardashians and said it was of the girl that Kim had in her basement? And I was like, I totally forgot about that.
What?
There was a little, she said the little girl that's in Kim's basement.
You want to hear something really fascinating? Sure. You've got Tesla, who gets funded by JP Morgan to create wireless technology, but Tesla gets a little ambitious and says, I'm going to do wireless communication, but I'm going to take your $150,000, I'm going to do wireless energy. And we'll do free energy around the world. And Morgan's like, how do you put a meter on that? Tesla's like, what do you mean? This propel mankind forward. Morgan pulls his funding, tells everyone in the investment class, this guy's a kook, and if you invest with him, you don't do business with me. A few years later, Wardenclyffe Tower gets torn down. Tesla dies in poverty.
Yeah.
And where are those 20 boxes? And why was the government so quick to respond to that crime scene?
Yeah, they showed up at that guy's house quick.
Uncle John Trump is in charge of that.
Donald Trump's uncle reviewed Tesla's death ray, secrets, and found mysterious royal letters. I wonder what they got.
British Columbia is going to change our clocks just one more time and then never again. We had committed to wait for our American partners, but the reality is that they're stuck. And we want to help give them the push that they need. Someone's got to go first. To be fair, the Yukon went first, and we thank them for that. But we're going to give them a push, and we're also going to make decisions right now where British Columbia decides what's best for us. And that's part of what we're doing right now as a province. And we're going to encourage the Congress to make the right decision and support those governors all the way down the West Coast. But for now, we're going to decide what's best for British Columbians and British Columbia families, and we're going to stay on permanent daylight savings time.
If we put a flag on the moon and you look up there with a telescope, they say you can't see the flag from Earth. But you look at NASA or whatever, and they're like 40 billion light years away. There's this one planet. We have this telescope that can reach over the way there to see this one little planet. But you can't see a flag on the moon, like pretty damn close. I mean,
because the atmosphere is distorted.
If you had their technology, you would see that there's no flag up there.
Someone needs to please explain this to me because I don't quite understand. If we can zoom in this close to the moon, if we can get this close to the moon from the Earth with the powerful cameras that we have, and we can just zoom right in on it, then why won't NASA zoom in on Australia? That way we can see this, and the whole debate about whether the Earth is a globe or it's flat would be over, right? Why don't they do that? Why does it look like every single composite of the globe Earth looks like CGI, looks like Photoshop? Why does NASA admit that it's Photoshop, that it is composites, even though we're going to Mars and all this stuff and sending rovers? Make it make sense.
One of the ones that gets a lot of people are flight routes. So from New Zealand, right, we got Australia around the corner here. Yeah, we got Argentina and South America. FlightAware says this is the shortest route. We don't have to go over Antarctica and disturb the penguins. There's actual islands out here that they could land on. So there's no excuse why we wouldn't fly here, right? But the actual flight route goes from New Zealand across the equator to San Francisco, across the United States to Texas, and then all the way back down, Ben. That's the route that it takes. And when we look at it on a flat Earth map, New Zealand, San Francisco, Houston, Texas, Argentina.
Straight shot.
It's always a straight shot, right?
That's the thing that convinced me. That's the thing that I looked at the flight patterns, and I'm like, it doesn't make any sense.
All these people from Wellington wanted to go to Lima, Peru to see the pyramids, but they had to stop in Los Angeles.
It's insane.
It's absolutely insane.
You see different things.
Physically different.
Why does nobody notice that?
Nobody notices. Nobody cares. People are they're just being ushered into this new thing, and nobody's asking. Everything is the same 10 corporations. It's the same 20 restaurants. You go to any town and you have the football stadium, the baseball stadium. You have the two chain steakhouses everyone's heard of, a Cheesecake Factory, a mall, a bad area, some like historic place that no one goes, and a Marriott, a Hilton, a nice old hotel that's kind of broken down but is kind of like charming, and it has a brunch on a Sunday, and then it's surrounded by 45 minutes to an hour of urban decay. That's every city in America outside of 10. Where's the resistance? Like when I was a kid, there was a group called Earth First, which I made fun of because they were like liberals or whatever.
Right.
Now I sort of love them, but there's nothing like it left. And they would just go put sugar in the gas tank of bulldozers. We're trying to clear cut woods to build a development. And their point, they were kind of Kaczynskiites.
Well, corporations have done a great job of going, we love you. We like you. We actually think you're great. We think it's great. We're progressive. We everything you're into, we're into. Everything that the internet says is good, we vibe with. We totally are. We're open to everything. We're going to do everything you want. If you want a black female CEO, you're going to get one. We're not stopping the sweatshops, but you're going to get a black female CEO. You might, we can get anything you want. We will do anything you want. You want a polyamorous orgy here at Chase? We'll do it. We're going to foreclose on everyone's house, but we'll do that. And they keep moving the goalpost around where you're kind of confused. You go, what exactly is happening? The tech people are now very much like, we're utopians, we're great, we're good, everything's good. We drink green juices, we ride bikes, we care about the environment, we care about you.
I don't understand why you have to pay to live on a planet you were born on. And then, it's such a simple question, and it's haunted me ever since. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Ask yourself that question. Why do we have to pay to live on a planet we were born on? And who are we actually paying for the privilege of being alive here? Who made them the boss? Who put them in charge? Think about that. We're looking at a war over water, when instead of feeding the military-industrial complex, we could be building desalination plants all over the world so everybody could have water, so they could grow crops. But are we doing it? Hell no. Why would we want to do that? Why would we want to empower people to grow food and take care of themselves? then we can't control them.
So Mark Zuckerberg was in court yesterday in Los Angeles, and he wore a pair of those glasses that you see right here. Well, see, here's the problem with that. It's illegal to do that in California. The reason being is because they don't want you recording the faces of the jurors. They want the jurors to stay anonymous so that way they cannot be influenced. And he was wearing a pair of his Meta glasses that can have facial recognition on it, which means he can then find out who they are, geofence their location, their home, their families, etc. He can play with the algorithm to try and sway those jurors into the favor of Meta. A case right now that is before the LA Superior Court for addictive natures of Instagram's algorithm, which can adversely affect children. This case is worth billions of dollars, and he was not supposed to be wearing those. So if it is in fact true that he was wearing those, he could actually be facing some jail time because it is a criminal offense to secretly record proceedings in a trial in California.
Where is all the war footage from Ukraine? Anybody in the room? Behind me, way out in the back, you guys way in the back. Where's all the war footage from Ukraine? Because what I'm seeing come out of the Middle East and Iran and Israel and Dubai and Australia, we're seeing all these missiles and missile launchers and aircraft carriers. It's all mapped out for us on all the news, yet there's this huge war that we're funding in Ukraine, and I see absolutely nothing on the news. And I want to know where my tax dollars are going. I'm always on here screaming and yelling at that I and you and everybody else in this country pays way too many tax dollars, especially when we don't even get to choose where our tax dollars go. These rich, out of touch, freaking wannabe celebrity politicians in Hollywood, not in Hollywood, that was a Freudian slip, in Washington, D.C., want to choose for you and me where our tax dollars go. So where the fuck is the war footage in Ukraine? I'll wait, because that little guy that runs around and asks everybody for money, that little freaking dancer, the Ukrainian president. If you're at this big war, why don't you show us the war footage? Where's all the war footage? Because you're a smart guy, yeah? You need the money, yeah? Show us, bring us the receipts.
Dad, should the president be able to take $10 billion of taxpayer money and put it in his private account?
Yes.
Why?
What's the private
Because he's
account?
president.
What's the private account?
Oh, he's talking about the Board of Peace, his private account.
I thought that was for other countries.
It's bullshit.
He set up this organization where he said this is basically his attempt to replace NATO.
It's a good idea.
So he has told all of the countries in the world, give me $1 billion and you can be a member of the Board of Peace. There are I think 7 countries have done it, all Middle Eastern and Eastern European. He controls it. He's the chair for life. He appointed himself that. He makes every decision about what to do with the money. He makes all the decisions. So those countries give $1 billion to the Board of Peace. That goes straight to Trump and his family. He is now saying the United States is going to give $10 billion to his organization that he controls and decides what to do with that money.
Damn right.
He's stealing $10 billion from America to give to himself.
That's $20 billion. I don't give a shit if it's 100.
Why did the countries...
That money's going to be better spent than NATO ever would spend.
I have said this before, Chad. I don't believe in pedophiles. Those people are terrible. They're creeps. Okay. Whatever they did to those victims and kids, they need to all go to jail or rot in hell.
Except Donald Trump.
Donald Trump never was on the island. There are accusations.
Never was on the island doesn't matter. You understand Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just doing this at his island. It was an everyday occurrence, part of his life, no matter where he was, whatever party he was throwing, it was all a part of it. There's allegations from a 16-year-old girl in a diary that she wrote, which I assume you wouldn't take that as real either, that Mar-a-Lago was kind of like the ground zero for where Epstein would come to get girls from Donald Trump, that he would sell them to him. You saw that check that Donald Trump or Epstein presented Donald Trump, or vice versa, $20,000 for a fully depreciated woman. You saw that picture. I showed that to you on our show. There's so much linking Donald Trump to Epstein and selling and abusing of women
Once Epstein though was went to prison. I mean, Trump cut off ties with him long before that, didn't he?
No, that's what all of this shows.
Why do I
Okay.
read that? Why do I read it that way?
Because you're watching Newsmax. Now,
Okay.
I'm going to show you a video of Donald Trump and Caitlin Collins from CNN. This happened just yesterday, I think, or maybe the day before.
Okay.
You want an investigation into all of this, right? If people are in the Epstein
Yes.
files in a credible way, investigate them. Donald
Yes.
Trump does not want that.
Okay.
Here's what he had to say.
On the Epstein files, you talked about Democrats who were in there. Elon Musk was also in there, and so was your Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and correspondence that he had with him. Did you read those new files that were published by the Department of Justice?
I have a lot of things I'm doing. A lot of things I'm doing. I don't know. You mentioned 2 names. I'm sure they're fine. Otherwise, it would have been major headlines.
A lot of women who are survivors of Epstein's are unhappy with those redactions that came out. Some of them, entire witness interviews are totally blacked out. Do you think that they should be more transparent?
The fact that they thought they released too much. I heard that, and you tell me something else. I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else. Now that nothing came out about me, other than it was a conspiracy against me, literally, by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
But what would you say to people
Like
who feel like that about
healthcare
injustice,
or
Mr. President?
something that people care about. Yeah, what did you say? Go
What
ahead.
would you say to
are
the
so
survivors
bad.
who feel like they haven't gotten
You are
justice?
the worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. She's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile
Well,
on
I'm
your
asking
face.
you about survivors.
You know
of
why?
Jeffrey
You know
Epstein,
why you're
Mr.
not
President.
smiling? Because you're not telling the truth, and you're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you.
These are survivors of a sexual abuser.
Okay, so you want an investigation. Trump wants us all to move on and sweep this under the rug. And the 2 sets of emails I just showed you between Elon Musk and Howard Lutnick, he says, I haven't read them, but I'm sure they're fine. Do you think they're fine?
No, I don't.
Okay, so why is Trump doing this? Think about it. Why is Trump trying to sweep this all under the rug, telling us to move on, look at something else, and then when Caitlin Collins presses him and says, what about these survivors who are not getting justice?
You want to know the 2 things that shocked the crap out of me? And you can look these up. Number 1, that plant that Jeffrey Epstein had that would, if used against someone, they'd breathe it in, it like remove free will, and like it was one of those basically like when you go to the doctor and they put you under.
Okay.
He was like looking for those type of plants. You see that? And he had a
No.
trap door. It is an ocean. It just dropped people in the ocean.
What the?
Excuse me?
Mm-hmm. And yeah,
Where'd you see that part?
it's in the files.
Amy, don't go looking for that one.
No, some stuff I haven't been good looking for, but I do appreciate when anybody's saying anything. I appreciate a file number.
Yeah, and I got this because I look at that. I go
Yes.
find the file number, or I go, hey, is this real?
If there's no file number, I don't believe you.
I'll read you this one first. Based on recently released files, Jeffrey Epstein kept angels, trumpets, plants, which are highly toxic, in his greenhouse. These plants contain compounds that produce a powerful drug known as, I'm going to mispronounce the drug.
That's okay.
Scopolamine, or devil's breath, which is known for its ability to induce a submissive, zombie-like state in its users.
Yikes.
Whoa. It is a real plant. Whoa. Now, would you mind looking up the trapdoor part? It's like Austin Powers.
You know what we're going to start seeing coming out of Hollywood? And it sucks, but I'm pretty certain it's going to happen. I'm predicting that in the next 10 or 15 years, we're going to see them start to make movies about cereal mascots. We're going to get a Captain Crunch movie, or a movie about Toucan Sam, or the Trix Rabbit, or the Lucky Charms Leprechaun. And they're all going to be voiced by Chris Pratt. Okay, maybe not all of them, but I'll bet he gets one of them. And they're going to try to establish a cinematic universe. You know, they're going to have all the individual movies, and then they'll come together for some big event movie with all the cereal mascots coming together like the Avengers to fight the Soggies. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous, but after we got the Emoji movie, nothing's off the table. It's unfortunately a perfect cash cow. They can make so much money off of this because you've got established children's cartoon characters that are well known by generations at this point. You can make a lot of money off of the advertising for the product, and also from the movies, because kids will watch anything. Like, millions of parents will have to reluctantly go to the movie theater to take their kids who want to see the Toucan Sam movie. As much as this sucks, it's going to happen sooner or later.
I'll tell you a little secret. I take a dolphin and I slow it down. It sounds like a monkey. If I take a chimpanzee and I speed it up, it sounds like a mouse. If I take a mouse and slow it down, it sounds like a seagull. If I take a seagull and slow the seagull down, it sounds like a gorilla or a whale. If I take a whale and we speed the whale up, it sounds like birds. Here's some cows. Sped up, they sound like puppies. If we slow crickets down, we're back at birds. Information is transmitted via waves. We can see that, we can hear that. The fundamental is the carrier wave. The harmonics differentiate my voice from a singer.
Is this, now a worldwide phenomenon?
Yeah.
No, is this, here we go again, is this another believe it and it becomes true?
Right, yeah, the tulpa.
The tulpa.
Where enough people believe in it, so then it starts occurring because of their belief. That it's a part of the matrix, I guess.
Right. Along with the pandas.
Yeah.
Always got to go back to the pandas. Always got to bring the pandas up. The pandas are a tulpa.
If you ever want to find a crazy rabbit hole, if you think yourself as a sane person, and you're with it, and you can't be swayed by conspiracy theories, do some research on the pandas aren't real. I'm right there with you. Because when I first heard it, I was like, that is the craziest thing. Obviously, pandas are real. And then I started doing research on it, and I was like, pandas aren't real.
And then you told me, and I went down that rabbit hole, and I'm like, dang it. Like, gosh.
Right.
Yeah, go down that rabbit hole, guys. So interdimensional being theory.
Right.
And this is a recurring thing with cryptids, is interdimensional
With
being.
Bigfoot.
We just talked last week about Bigfoot possibly being an interdimensional being because there's never any evidence left behind. Same thing here. Not a physical creature, but a reality bleed through.
Right.
It explains inconsistencies in the anatomy and the movement. It accounts for psychology and the temporal effects, and links to theories of parallel dimensions supported by UFO and Men in Black overlap.
Jeff Daniels, what is the best sandwich?
I've got to go with a personal favorite, which is pita bread, some creamy peanut butter. We put the quarter-inch
A quarter-inch of peanut butter?
Of creamy peanut butter, and you're only doing half of it. And then you're getting Ruffles, cheddar, and sour cream potato chips. And you're getting a handful of them, and you're crunching them up, and then you're sprinkling them on the peanut butter. Then you're getting your favorite brand of barbecue sauce. That's right.
Masterpiece, what are we doing?
Fold it over, and yeah.
Here we go.
That is not supposed to work, but it does. That barbecue sauce and peanut butter,